money clarity cultivates nervous system safety when you're having big changes. You do not want to be thinking about money all the time. And no matter how much money you make, and when it comes to making a change, there's already grief and emotional upheaval and a lot of different conflicting energies when you are contemplating a relationship transition. Let's not have your finances be one of them. Hello, my gorgeous. Welcome back to another episode of Natalia Benson, the podcast. It is so good to be with you again. Happy New Year. I am so happy to be back with you. And if my voice sounds just like the littlest, cutest bit of hoarseness, I was so unbelievably sick right after New Year's. I realized that for all of 2025, I actually did not get sick one time. I think I was just going through so much change, and there was a lot of like fight or flight going on with my nervous system that it was like, we just need to keep moving forward. There is no time to get sick. And it was like clockwork on January 1st. I got so sick. So you'll bear with me. I kind of like when my voice sounds like this. I'm like, it's just like a little change of things, but it's vibey. So happy to be with you, my angels. Happy New Year. I hope you're feeling so beautiful and so anchored and grounded. You know, I really look at the new year really more so in terms of the spring equinox when Aries season begins, especially for us in the Northern Hemisphere, because very simply, that is when we are starting spring in the Northern Hemisphere. So for our babes who live in the Southern Hemisphere, I would say that New Year in the middle of your spring, is that how it works? Oh my God, I always get it so confused. Your summer, I'm sorry, makes perfect sense. And then for us in the Northern Hemisphere, when it is our winter and it's quiet and cold, it's definitely a good time to ease into the year and not to be firing on all levels, but to be reflective and conscientious about where it is that we're heading and how we want to utilize the year ahead. And I feel like, honestly, even though I don't like getting sick, especially as an Aries, but I will say that it was actually such a gift to get sick because I had to go into hermit mode and spend a lot of time with myself and spend a lot of time reflecting. So it actually was somewhat of a sacred time, to be honest. So I missed you, angels. It's been a little while since I've recorded an episode, and I'm really excited what I'm bringing you this month. So we are starting a little bit behind schedule just because I did get sick, but I feel like it's perfect. I think my soul was like, yes, you actually need to take a break. So we're going to ensure you take a break by giving you a cold. But what I will say is that we're starting right on time with the first episode of the Money Motivation series. So essentially, my vision and mission for teaching you this in January 2026. Of course, if you're hearing this at a later date, it's going to serve you no matter when you listen to it. But essentially, these are going to be 3 consecutive episodes where we are going to be really taking a look at our relationship to money in unique spectrums of our financial experience. So our first episode, which we're doing today, the episode you're on, is we're going to be talking about women, breakups, and money. And our next episode is going to be how to stop overspending. And then the third episode is going to be navigating a slow economy and really caring for your business, your community, or your dreams, even when it's a slower economic season. And I'm going to really get into that in the third episode. But again, like my mission and my vision, my loves for creating a series like this for you is because I don't want you to let another year go by where you don't take a hold of this part of your life. And the truth is, you need a plan, you need a process, and you also need nourishing support. And for those of you who maybe aren't as familiar with my work, I teach personal finance tools, simple simple personal finance tools, but we have this really soft, beautiful approach with the astrology and with the spiritual, energetic aspect of my work. So we're going to be exploring all sides in this series. And my prayer is that this really sets you up to have a shift in consciousness and a shift in your attitude on stuff that maybe seems kind of boring. But I have to say, I want you to see learning money from someone like me as like learning money from your supportive Aries bestie versus maybe like a parent, a partner, a banker, things like that. Not to say you can't learn great things from these people, but I will say from my own experience that for me, I just felt like I needed to learn money from someone that just resonated with me. And I feel like that is the reflection that I get so often with the women who've been involved in my work is they're just like, Natalia, you just feel like one of the first people that I could approach this subject with, because I am very, very esoteric and very empathic and very spiritual and very entrepreneurial. And I really bring that energy to my approach to teaching this stuff so that it feels approachable. But I'm just going to speak with you like very lovingly, but very honestly, my loves, you need to learn this stuff. Please do not let another year go by where you just don't pay attention to this part of your life. Like, yes, New Year's and the spring equinox, but let's begin now and having a shift in consciousness and a gentle yet powerful shift in our habits so that we don't get to 2027 and we're yet again year over year compounding our financial issues because we avoid or we think that this stuff is over our head. You can learn and you can do anything that you put your mind and your heart to. And the way that I teach this, especially whether you've been really involved in my work or you've learned money with me before or you're very new to me, it doesn't matter. You have the capacity and the capability to learn this and you can do it. And so that's what we're going to start with this series. And if you have been in my work for a while, or you've been in MWMM, or even if you are in MWMM, I'm going to be bringing some new concepts into this 3-part series and something very, very special. So MWMM is going through a huge up level for 2026. I am working behind the scenes. I've had this membership going on 7 years and it is growing and changing. And essentially what we're going to do on February 3rd is I'm going to host a very, very special live event where we are going to get into like the concepts that I'm talking about in this series. I'm going to give you hands-on simple tools. And I'm going to give you exactly how to join me for free at the end of this episode, but it's going to be extremely special, very powerful. And if you're just looking to start the year on a totally new foot in this area of your life and really take hold of habits and practices that will transform your relationship to money and up-level and mature your relationship to money, because I say this with peace and love and respect for you, but I know that many of you do not have a mature, forward-facing relationship with your money. And that is not to be unkind, but it's to be honest. And it's important just to really acknowledge and be lovingly real with yourself to say, you know what, I don't have a mature, clear, respectful, organized relationship with my finances yet, but you know what, I want to. So let's get into the episode. So we're going to be talking about women, breakups, and money. And here's what I want to offer. So if you are in a partnership and let's say you're in a great relationship, I still feel like there's some great things that you can take from this episode. But if you find yourself maybe in a divorce, preparing for a divorce, in a separation, or you're just in some kind of major relationship transition, I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I really want to invite you into a form of financial self-leadership with your finances, because very, very simply, breakups and transitions in relationships, very often for women, they force us to financially wake up and to really look at what it is that we actually have going on with our finances. And what happens so often is that we feel as if we cannot make a transition in a relationship, perhaps because we don't have the earning capacity, or we just very simply don't have a sovereign, clear relationship with our money. And what I will say, my loves, is because of the work that I've done on myself. And for those of you who don't know my story, I used to barely be able to keep $50 in my bank account. I was helter-skelter, feast or famine. And even if it was a feast time, I literally was like $200 in my bank account. And I lived in Los Angeles. My rent was $500. I lived in part of a living room at my friend's house. I had a curtain for a wall, and I was just money avoidant and money resistant. And I just didn't see myself as someone who could take care of money or who was capable of earning well financially. So I avoided money. I did the absolute bare minimum at all times. And that has shifted into me stewarding a very successful, very stable business. You're with me right now. The podcast is a part of my business ecosystem, which I'm going to talk about in episode 3 of this series, how to build a healthy business ecosystem so that it can sustain you even during slower economic times, or perhaps even something like a breakup, a divorce, or a separation, or something of this nature. But I will say, my loves, that because of my relationship to money over the years, I was able to choose to leave. Or when my partner on that last day of our relationship agreed with me and was like, I don't want to do this anymore, I didn't have to stay because I couldn't sustain on my own. I had already had my money system for a very, very long time. And this system that I teach in my work, this is how I was able to leave the relationship and move twice, essentially, in 2025. I had to move when we ended our relationship. I moved back out to Laguna. And then I found out that the place I'm living, I haven't moved yet, but I'm moving soon. But the place that I've been living didn't want to renew my lease. It's a whole interesting thing, but very simply, they were like, it's probably to raise the rent, TBH, because I'm a dream tenant. But what I will say is that I took that as a sign from God universe, because I had been questioning, am I supposed to stay in this apartment? Am I supposed to stay in Laguna Beach? And then a couple days later, I got an email basically saying that they weren't going to renew my lease at the 12-month mark. And I just, even though it was very hard, I just took that as a sign. Okay, it's time for me to move. And long story short, I'm moving to Santa Monica, and I've been able, and I'm even moving into a place actually that is more, it costs more than this place, but because I have my system, I know my numbers, I was able to make the decision to say, okay, I'm not finding what would work for me here in Laguna or in Orange County, and I'm going to move back to Los Angeles, and I'm going to be living in Santa Monica. So I was able to find something incredible, and I'm so excited. And obviously I'll bring you babes along the journey with me. But I share this because to be able to be divorced and then make 2 moves in a year, essentially, that is all because of financial organization. And of course, I don't want you to have this stuff just for like dire circumstances. I want you to have it for vision expansion and, the things that you want to create in your life. Of course. But of course, what is, I think, even more important is that we have a system that can help us and support us, especially when life is hard and like we need the power of choice. So when it comes to like a relationship shift or a relationship ending, or maybe you're like contemplating the release of a relationship, you really, really need to look at your financial organization and your earning capacity. And this can be tough because it's already so emotional to be on the precipice of perhaps like a relationship ending itself. And then you add on the stress and the cortisol of, oh, now maybe you have to move, just like I was talking about, or you need to, I don't know, you need to get a job, or like what, or you need to like take your business more seriously, or you need to go to the next level in your earning capacity. There's a myriad of examples, but all in all, what happens so often is that when you are contemplating or you are in a relationship shift, you need to look at, how well am I organized? Do I know my numbers? Do I understand my numbers? And what is my earning capacity at right now? So this has to do also with like money tracking. So it's like, how much money am I bringing in? How much money am I spending? And this is the first tool of my financial system, other than the money astrology, is essentially we start with the money astrology, but then I want you to look at and track your money in your bank account. So you, just to easily do this, you can open up a bank statement and then you can look and see, okay, when was I paid, or when did money come in? Okay, put it into your spreadsheet and then tally it up. How much money actually came in? When did it come in? Mark the dates so you can see the cadence of when money is coming to you. Then, especially if you're a business owner, I want you to see, what are my business expenses, and then what are my personal expenses. So the things that contribute to my life, maybe it's my rent, my mortgage, the groceries that I pay for, whatever it may be. But this very, very first aspect of financial organization is really taking a look and tracking your money. Now, when I say the word earning capacity, this is something that's malleable. This is something that can expand. I feel like I've heard so many stories that have just been so amazing, where women have told me that they had a really extreme shift in their circumstances, especially relationally, like a divorce, a breakup, etc., where they had to kick into high gear and start to earn at a different level because it was going to be on them. And when I talk about earning capacity and I say that it's malleable, I just want you to remember that this also is like the way you look at yourself, the way you see yourself. Do you see yourself as someone who is able to evolve and who's able to handle more energy? Because if we really want to look at money from the energetic side, money is energy. And what happens so often, and I know this has been true for me because I've had times in my life, and this has been very hard pill for me to swallow, but where like I earned money or I was given money from some circumstance. And it was really interesting because if it hit over the threshold of what I felt I was capable of holding and handling, I would find a way to get rid of it. And I don't know if that's something that you can relate to, but being and understanding that money has an energetic relationship with us, and even holding more money is like holding more energy. So how capable do you feel on your best day or even your hardest day of holding and handling more energy? And these things, my angels, like just looking at, let's say, some simple tools, daily meditation, even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like being with your spirit, being with the quiet of your own mind. These are all things that expand your sense of self, because most often you're doing things that are hard, or you're doing things that your ego thinks is boring. And when you can triumph over the part of your mind that tells you that you can't do something, and you show yourself through challenging actions, it's like the most Capricorn rising thing for me to tell you. But when you show yourself through challenging actions that you can actually do and show up, it's amazing. And you will expand your capacity not only to earn, but to show up for like the tough moments where you feel like you can't do it, or there's something that is beyond your current capability. And so do it in small ways, especially if you're contemplating the shift of a relationship or a huge change, which also comes with grief. My invitation to you is like, take care of your health, make sure you're eating healthy food and grounding into your body. I think a big thing, especially for women, because we have cycles, is we need to take care of our life force, which really rests in our womb and rests in like our kidney chi as well. It's like all of that stuff, our root chakra, our sacral chakra, these lower energies in the body that are very foundational to us feeling safe. And the difference between like emotional survival versus financial stability is when we start to like take care of our money. My loves, if I were to just lift the veil for you for a moment and tell you my core reason for teaching this stuff, and even as a Manny Gen, who I have a lot of interests and a lot of different ways that I split and share my energy through my work. But the reason I'm so devoted to the money teaching work is because very simply, I think and believe that when we as women feel safe financially and that root and that core level, like we don't feel like we're hyper analyzing and thinking about our finances all the time, I think what that does is it brings a nourishment to our spiritual body, and it also allows our gifts to be fully expressed. When we are in emotional survival, which is absolutely a part of breakups and a part of big shifts like this. But when we're in emotional survival, it is so hard to be available to our gifts. And that's okay. There are seasons where we're going to be less activated and less available to, like, let's say, our bigger reason for being here. But the truth is, it all goes hand in hand, because I've had moments where I've been on the floor and I'm like, why am I experiencing this? And I literally will hear a voice. I feel like it's from my higher self, from my spiritual team, where they're like, this is going to be part of what you teach. And this is going to be part of how you heal and serve and support others. So everything has its place, because even for me, being in places of emotional survival, which was my entire 20s, I was in financial instability and emotional survival mode. But all of that gave way because I was tenacious about learning and shifting my experience with my finances. All of that gave way to me building the system that I teach now, and also being a very stable and financially organized woman. I was actually at my best friend Krista's book launch. And it was really interesting because I ran into a woman who I haven't seen in a really long time. And she knew me in my 20s. And she literally said, Natalia, I remember I used to run into you and you would be so financially stressed out. She's like, I remember your core thing was like, how do I just get out of this like true experience of scarcity? Like it was by my own doing. Like I just was so afraid of what it was that I needed to do to really put one foot in front of the other and take care of money and learn money most of all. It was really beautiful actually to hear that reflection from her, because this has been a true transformation in my life. And it's why I teach this stuff, because I know that maybe you're not in a place that was as dire as where I was, but you may have like experiences, especially when you're going through a big life change where you're just like, gosh, I really need to get this stuff together for myself, for my family, for my dreams, you know? And I always say money management can and will make your dreams come true. But one thing that I'll say, you know, there was a money chat that I taught last spring. I can't believe that was almost a year ago. And I talked about something. It was really around like divorce and being financially ready for a divorce or a separation. And I talked about something called the need, desire, choice paradigm. And what happens so often is that when we are in need, we don't think that we have access to our desires, nor do we have access to choice. And when we are in like a space of desire and we feel safe to be in desire, to actually ask what we want, what we actually want, that is this upper calibration from need. Because when we're in need, we don't even think that desire or choice are even available to us. But when we upshift and we are in desire and we can make choices from a place of desire, that is true sovereignty and true power. And the truth is, my loves, having a healthy relationship to money, that's exactly what it is, right? It's just like when you are like, why do you want money? You don't want money like for no reason. You actually want money because you have desires. Of course, you have needs as well, but you have desires and you want to be able to make choices. And especially in the space of a transition out of a relationship, you need to have access to choice. And what happens so often for so many women, for so many reasons, is they are in deep need and reliance. That is all shifting so much now. Holy moly, my whole algorithm, that's like all it talks about is just literally how that is changing en masse on such a powerful level, where women are holding healthier, more powerful financial sovereignty. And we're making choices in the realm of relationships, which is really beautiful. So wherever you fall in the spectrum with the need, desire, choice paradigm, I think it's just having this idea in your mind of like, what do I want? Why is it important to me? And what choice do I actually want to make in my life that money can support me in making? Now, just to close this up, and then I'm going to talk about the event on February 3rd, which I'm very excited about. I want you to really reflect on how money clarity cultivates nervous system safety when you're having big changes. You do not want to be thinking about money all the time. And no matter how much money you make, if you are not financially organized and caring for what it is that you have, it will be very, very hard to not be thinking about money all the time. And when it comes to making a change, there's already grief and emotional upheaval and a lot of different conflicting energies when you are contemplating a relationship transition. Let's not have your finances be one of them. And the last thing that I want to say, my loves, is you cannot out-earn a money avoidance problem. So if there has ever been a part of you, whether you handed the financial reins over to your relationship, or you maybe even grew up where there was the conversation of like, someone will take care of you, the gift of having your own empowered, clear relationship with your finances is that you will be able to make your own choices from a place of desire and a place of need. You cannot out-earn a money avoidance problem. It is literally time to take care of this stuff and focus and face what it is that you need to get really honest about. And like I said, we want to be in the place where the emotionality of making a change in a relationship is already big enough. So let's get clear so that we don't have to be emotionally dire or confused or conflicted around our finances as well. So I am going to be hosting a live money up level class and an enrollment party for MWMM. So this is going to be a powerful grounding money experience designed to help you feel clear, calm, and confident about money going into 2026. So in this live class, we're going to cover the entire MWMM financial organization system. We're going to get real on money transitions, financial self-leadership, moving from need to desire to choice. And we're going to really work with creating emotional safety and clarity with your finances so that you can contribute to whatever dreams or vision or changes you want to make this year. And then I will be opening a very, very special live enrollment for MWMM that day. Now, when you enroll, you're going to have free access to my 5-day 2026 Money Up Level Intensive. This is going to be inside of MWMM only. It's going to be a guided reset where we stop overspending, we start using money intentionally, we clear debt and build real momentum. we align our earning with our astrological money blueprint. We get organized, invest wisely, and move past money resistance. And lastly, we're going to build a sustainable business ecosystem for long-term wealth. And if you enroll on that February 3rd date, you're also going to get access to how to stop overspending and build real wealth. This is going to be a VIP chat inside of MWMM. I'm going to be teaching a 4-part course on women, divorce, and healthy financial partnership. And this will be the last opportunity to receive original MWMM member pricing. MWMM is up leveling in 2026, and we are increasing the price because it is going to be one of the most powerful, nourishing financial organization meets astrology systems available on the internet. It's very, very powerful. I'm so proud and excited of what I'm creating inside of there with the community. And very simply, my loves, if you would like access to this free enrollment opportunity and party and live event with me, it's going to be very, very fun. We're going to start with teaching, and then we're going to go into Q&A. So if you've ever been interested in joining me and working with me more deeply inside of MWMM, you'll not only get access to all of this amazing upcoming money up leveling content and workshops, but in addition, you're going to unlock the last opportunity to get original member pricing. So to enroll just for the free event, that's all you're doing. It's the free event first, and then you'll join me on February 3rd for the event. I'm just going to put the invitation enrollment link inside of the show notes. That is it. It'll take you 1 second to enroll. And then, of course, once you enroll, we'll get you all the information to join me live on February 3rd and not only have a beautiful time together that day and do some incredible learning and really grounding this money motivation series, but also, like I said, if you've ever been curious about working with me more deeply with my personal finance and astrology method, then this will be a great day for you just to have a turning point in your relationship with money and have a supportive space and a supportive program to really make those changes. So I love you, my darlings. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode where we are going to be talking about stopping overspending and how to actually feel good about money in 2026. I will see you there. Thank you so much for being with me. And I'm just honored and excited to do this series with you this month. All right, I'll see you soon.